Bill Cosby, as we all know, his sentence was overturned because of a technicality that allegedly a previous prosecutor gave him a promise that wasn't in writing at all. That, you know, if you testify at the civil trial, then you cannot be, you have immunity. Another prosecutor later felt like, well, that agreement wasn't valid. Again, it wasn't in writing. They didn't feel like it was an actual agreement. It was somewhere in a press release, but it wasn't a, what is it called, a prosecutor agreement. Nonetheless, Bill Cosby's out. Hours after Bill Cosby gets out of jail, the iconic, the wonderful Felicia Rashad, who I've had the, you know, honor of interviewing, sent out a tweet saying, finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected. All right. And some folks at Howard University and Howard alumni, and for those that don't know, Felicia Rashad is going to be working at Howard University. She was recently named the dean of Howard University's Chadwick Boseman College of Fine Arts. There was some backlash to it, and Felicia Rashad later released an apology, apologizing for in any way, shape, or form being insensitive to victims of sexual assault. Right. And Bill Cosby decides to keep on talking. Bill Cosby ain't going nowhere. I think it would make sense for him just to fall back and chill out, but he's going to keep on talking. And bizarrely, he brought up the rioters who stormed the Capitol in January. This was really, now, I've always said Cosby is a conservative. I know he's given money to HBCUs and Temple, but I've always said he really is a conservative. But here's what he wrote in a statement, which was given to NPR by his spokesman, Andrew Wyatt. There are some grammatical errors. I'm just going to read it as it was released. Howard University, you must support one's freedom of speech, Miss Rashad, which is taught or supposed to be taught every day at the renowned law school, which resides on your campus. The mainstream media has become the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol. Those same media insurrectionists are trying to demolish the Constitution of these United States of America on this Independence Day. We, the people, stand in support of Ms. Felicia Rashad. This could almost be a Trump statement. The mainstream. I know we have people, Amisha, who will call into the show and will die on the hill for Bill Cosby, but we got to have some logical folks who can concede that this is getting foolish. I mean, Mr. Cosby, Dr. Cosby, there were insurrectionists who came in the Capitol with a Confederate flag. There's no proper juxtaposition here. Are we going down Trumpian lane? Like, what is happening? Amisha, your thoughts?
This is past foolish. This is something that shows me that while Cosby was in lockup, he was closely following right-wing rhetoric, because this is taking a page from that, because he's speaking towards cancel culture as if an alleged rapist should not be canceled. He's speaking towards that, and he's using free speech in the wrong vein, because just like the conservatives use all the time, yes, you're free to say anything and everything, but that does not mean there's freedom from consequence. Your job can let you go because you said something that was out of scope, out of line, and completely offensive. That doesn't mean that your rights were violated. You have the freedom to say a bunch of things that you just should not be saying. And again, private industry has the opportunity to punish you for said speech. That has always been the case, and that's not new, and it's not going to stop anytime too soon. What Felicia Rashad did, back to that point in that tweet that she did, if that's your friend and that's your ride or die friend, cool, whatever. It was an ignorant thing to tweet, specifically because the day after she tweeted it was supposed to be her first day in that new position at Howard. And we have to remember that the Howard University, for the greatness that it is, less than 3 years ago, they had multiple students come forward about sexual harassment and sexual assault that they endured on that campus. And this university committed to working with its students to actually address the issues that have been pushed under the rug for so long, and the females on the campus who felt unsafe. So we have to remember that in the vein of all of this, Howard was actually dealing with its own push against sexual assault and sexual violence on campus that students themselves had pushed forward. But in addition to that, having Felicia Rashad, with the role that she now is going to encompass or does encompass, come out and say something like this puts in jeopardy the university and the young women who are brave enough to say, this happened to me on this campus and I want this university to do something. So yes, she owed to the university some set of moral standards and conversation that does not lend itself to being okay with sexual violence and sexual abuse that we know takes place in 1 in 3 cases for young women across college campuses, regardless of the campus that they are on. So when we talk about campus sexual violence, having someone who literally just got appointed to lead as a dean, that is a problem. You cannot play both sides and run up the middle on this. You have to take a side of protecting students. And in what she said, it sounded as though she was giving a pass to people who are victims. So her statements extended beyond Bill Cosby to a lot of people, and coming out and having to say something else because the Howard University had to cover its own tail here. That was extremely important. The conversation and the instigation from Bill Cosby about this being like the January 6th insurrection is completely absurd. I think that he is conflating two things that have absolutely nothing to do with each other, but he's also trying to play the victim. Bill Cosby likes to play the victim. He likes to wallow in it. He likes to push forward in that. And I think that at this point, not only is he not remorseful for anything, but he's also someone who can't keep his damn mouth shut. Because once you get off, follow the OJ. OJ didn't say anything for years when he got off. This is a guy
Except
who
for when he
literally
went to
just got
Nevada
off
and
last
got into
week.
that. Except for when he went to
He did
Nevada,
that thing in
OJ.
Vegas or whatever, but that was years after the trial had
Right,
ended.
the sports,
At
yeah,
this
sports
point, Bill
memorabilia.
Cosby won't even let it get cold before he jumps out and does something else that's crazy. And I think that just
Right.
goes to show that the image and who he thinks he is and where he thinks his next stand is. Nothing about this man believes that his image was tarnished. He also believes that he can just walk back on a stage somewhere and all of a sudden all sins will be forgiven. That's not how this works. And again, the conflation with the January 6th insurrection is completely ridiculous. The conflation with cancel culture, completely ridiculous. And Felicia Rashad did what Felicia Rashad had to do because Howard wasn't having it.
Exactly. And listen, she I'm not here for I'm not gonna say I don't like Felicia Rashad. I adore Felicia Rashad. She is an icon. I think she's incredible. I will say that, you don't have to sound off on everything. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to celebrities, some celebrity like you and I, we do commentary for a living, but you don't have to sound off on everything. And I did feel like, with all due respect to Miss Felicia Rashad, that tweet came out just hours after his sentence. I think we were on air. Were we on air? Well,
I think we were. It literally came out. It came out, his wife hasn't even released a statement, but his actual wife, not the TV one. And here we go with Felicia Rashad.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh man, I don't think that we don't have to sound off on everything. Is she going to lose her job? No. I don't know what the freedom of speech angle is. She's not, I don't know what that means. But when you put something on social media, I know this too, you know this too, people have a right to respond. That's their freedom of speech as well too. People are going to respond. People are going to have a reaction to it. But I'm telling y'all, Dr. Cosby needs to fall back. He needs to fall back. He is indignant. Your sentence has been vacated. It was a mistake by a prosecution, but you need to fall back. I just think just rest up, because this is crazy, and I don't know what lane he's going down. Media insurrectionist. That sounds so Trumpian. That sounds so Trump. Is this brother a Trump supporter?
It just sounds like and it is Trumpy, but it's also a rich man who gets away with murder, in his case, rape. At the end of the day, wealth and privilege has allowed so many people who've committed criminal acts or been accused of committing highly criminal acts, even with so much evidence mounting against them, it has allowed them to walk free, and they become indignant, and they say things like we heard from Trump, and they say things like we've heard from Bill Cosby. He did not get exonerated in the same way that Donald Trump didn't get exonerated in both impeachments, but he's going to keep saying it because that's how he feels in his head.
Exactly. And that's really important. I'm doing exonerated later on in the show. He wasn't exonerated. His sentence was vacated, but nobody said he was guilty or innocent. He was found guilty. he was found guilty by jury, but it's not like folks are saying that he's innocent. So, yeah, Felicia Rashad will be Miss Rashad will be okay. She'll be okay, Dr. Cosby. She'll be fine. She supports you. That's wonderful. She has her own reasons. I'm not judging her, but she's gonna be all right. It's not attacking her free speech, and it's no comparison to the racist, violent January 6th insurrection, which had Ayanna Pressley terrified for her life because what was it? There was buttons ripped off her phone in her office. There's no comparison. Just like don't compare yourself to Emmett Till. Dr. Cosby's team, if you're out there, somewhere out there from one Philly boy to another, stop. Please stop. Stop with the bad analogies. It's offensive.